So here's our lesson plan for today. First, we're going to talk about natural language processing and what it is. Second, we're going to talk about how natural language processing functions. And then finally, we're going to finish it off with an app building tutorial that incorporates some of what we learned. All right, sounds good? All right, let's begin. So first, what even is natural language processing? Well, natural language processing, also known as NLP, just refers to a branch of computer science that focuses on giving computers the ability to understand human text or speech. Essentially, NLP's job is to translate unstructured human text that computers can't understand into structured computer text that computers can understand. So, what is NLP used for? Well, there's many things, including autocomplete searching, autocorrect, virtual assistants such as Siri or Alexa, chatbots such as ChatGPT, voice recognition, text-to-speech, language translation, spam detection, and much, much more. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how NLP can be so useful, and as well as the many things that utilizes it. Okay, so how does NLP work exactly? Well, first we need to break down our sentence or paragraphs into pieces or tokens. This is called tokenization, which is just splitting the input into just words, basically. So you can see natural language processing. That's 3 tokens: natural, language, and processing. Right? Okay. Next is stemming, which is finding the word that a token derives from. So this is going to simplify the text string and convert the words into their base form. So for example, waited, waiting, and waits all get stemmed into the word wait. However, stemming is somewhat of a problematic process because not all words that look similar have similar meanings. So for example, universal and university, they both sound like they would stem from the word universe, but they really don't have that much in common with each other. So the alternative is lemmatization, which is what other NLP programs use. And it's similar in how it converts a token into its base form, but instead of looking at its letters, lemmatization derives the root or the lem of a word by using its dictionary definition. So for example, as you can see here, better is going to be lemmatized into good, all right? And you can see here at the bottom, like some of the problems where stemming wouldn't work so well. So strange is going to be stemmed into strang, which is not really what we want, okay? Next, we're going to tag each token using part of speech or POS tagging. So you guys know what part of speech are, right? So nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, those are all parts of speech. So each token is going to be labeled with its parts of speech, according to how it's used in the context of the sentence. All right. And the computer has the ability to do this because we program it to understand grammar rules and sentence structures. So you can see here, she sells seashells by the seashore. She, that's a proper, or that's a preposition, right? Sells, that's a verb. And seashells, that's a plural noun, right? And on and on and on, right? Next. Now, the final step, this is the final step, is going to be named entity recognition, or NER. And what this is going to do is just tag the words that are names, right? So for example, Barack Hussein Obama II, that's a name. So it's going to be tagged with the entity person. The United States, that's a location. So it's going to be tagged with the entity location, or LOC for short. Now remember, NLP is just breaking down and translating human words into machine words that computers can understand. So what they do after the fact is either natural language understanding or natural language generation, or they can be a mix of the two. They can also work together. Trying to simplify this, right? So if you look on the NLU side, right over here, you're going to see that NLU is a subset of NLP. It analyzes text and speech to determine the meaning of a sentence, and it's usually used for sentiment analysis, machine translation, or profanity filtering. On the other hand, NLG is also a subset of NLP, but its goal is to enable computers to write and produce a natural sounding response to an input. So it's used in chatbots like ChatGPT, virtual assistants, and auto captioning services like you see on YouTube. So now what we're going to do is see a small demo of NLP/NLU in action. So the program we're going to use is called IBM Watson. You might have heard of it. And what it is, it's basically a computer AI that's capable of understanding and answering questions in natural language. So I'm going to put the slides link into the chat right now. Just give me a second. All right. And yes, Vincent, ChatGPT technology. Don't use it to cheat in school, though. That's not good. All right. All right, we're good. Okay, so just click on this link over here. It's going to take you to this website over here. And there's a bunch of sample text that it gives us. So we're just going to click Analyze Text. It's going to see what it does. And you can see here some of the stuff that we talked about. So here's entities. So it can tell that corporate governance committee, that's an organization. And it's pretty confident in that decision, right? It can also tell that directors, that's a job title. That's very confident in that. He's very confident in that as well. IBM, that's an organization, and it knows that too. So what else do we have? We have keywords, which is just indicating what words are most important to this paragraph. All right. We have sentiment analysis. This is just telling you if the whole paragraph is positive or negative. So this is pretty positive. It sounds pretty happy, right? There's also emotions. So the full document is showing joy for the most part. And there's also linguistics, which is kind of like the sentence structure we were talking about. So this is just analyzing the sentences by breaking it down into its subject, action, and object form. So you can see here, the board is determining whether these directors are independent. The directors and the corporate governance committee is making recommendations, all right? So also the syntax, which is the tokens, the part of speech, and the lem. We were also talking about that earlier. So let's see, for example, let's see if I can find a good example here. Well, directors, that's a token, that's a noun. And then the lem of that is just director, singular. And what else do we have? Let me find something. Those, yeah, here we go. That's good. Those, that the word those, that's a determiner. And the lem of that is that. Okay. It's just that. All right. And one important thing to note is that this is just, it's not knowing what it is, right? It doesn't know, this program doesn't know what IBM is. It's just guessing what it is depending on how it's used in this paragraph, right? It doesn't know for sure that IBM is an organization. Well, it's just assuming, right? It's a confident and it's a fairly accurate assumption, but it doesn't know that for sure. It's just making guesses depending on how it's used in this paragraph. So to prove that, we can insert our own text. So I'm just going to find an article from Yankees.com, best team. And this is from yesterday's game. And I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it in this here. You guys can do this too if you have anything, if you find anything that you want to analyze. So I'm just going to paste this in the URL section. And we're going to analyze this article. You can see here, everything is on here. And it can tell that Yankees is an organization, Orioles is an organization, and Cordero is a person, right? So it's able to do that just by analyzing what it gives us. So that kind of proves how it's not certain of anything, right? It's just making assumptions based on the surrounding context. And is there anything? Oh, let's look at the sentiment. All right, so see, there's a few things that are negative. So, oh, that's very interesting, actually. This is an article by the Yankees. This is by a Yankees reporter. So naturally, the Yankees are going to sound a bit more positive. And the Orioles were their opponent. So the Orioles are going to sound a bit more negative. Okay. And the whole document, okay, fairly positive overall. Okay. All right. So that's it for the demo. Now, no. Now, what we're going to do next is, give me a second, we're going to watch a video. All right, this is by Crash Course AI. And yeah, just going to jump right into it.
Natural language processing, or NLP for short, mainly explores two big ideas. First, there's natural language understanding, or how we get meaning out of combinations of letters. These are AI that filter your spam emails, figure out if that Amazon search for Apple was grocery or computer shopping, or instruct your self-driving car how to get to a friend's house. And second, there's natural language generation, or how to generate language from knowledge. These are AI that perform translations, summarize documents, or chat with you. The key to both problems is understanding the meaning of a word, which is tricky because words have no meaning on their own. We assign meaning to symbols. To make things even harder, in many cases, language can be ambiguous, and the meaning of a word depends on the context it's used in. If I tell you to meet me at the bank, without context, I could mean the riverbank or the place where I'm grabbing some cash. If I say, this fridge is great, that's a totally different meaning from, this fridge is great. It lasted a whole week before breaking. So, how do we learn to attach meaning to sounds? How do we know great means something totally different from great? Well, even though there's nothing inherent in the word cat that tells us that it's soft, purrs, and chases mice, when we were kids, someone probably told us that this is a cat, or a gato, mal, billy, or hot. When we're solving a natural language processing problem, whether it's natural language understanding or natural language generation, we have to think about how our AI is going to learn the meaning of words and understand our potential mistakes. Sometimes we can compare words by looking at the letters they share. This works well if a word has morphology. Take the root word swim, for example. We can modify it with rules. So if someone's doing it right now, they're swimming. Or the person doing the action is the swimmer. Drinking, drinker, thinking, thinker, you get the idea. But we can't use morphology for all words. Like how knowing that a van is a vehicle doesn't let us know that a vandal smashed in a window. Many words that are really similar, like cat and car, are completely unrelated. And on the other hand, cat and felidae, the word for the scientific family of cats, mean very similar things and only share one letter.
Okay, so that's our video.
Natural language processing.
All right, so that's our video, right? And we are going to move on to building our app.
Natural language processing, or NLP.
Okay, so our challenge for today is to create a chatbot using MIT App Inventor that kind of acts like a therapist for the user. Right? And we're going to do this by using the text-to-data API to analyze the user's emotions. And then we want the bot to talk back using text-to-speech. We want the user to communicate either through text or through voice recognition. And we want the bot responses to be generated using the user's input. So we don't want it to just say random things, right? We want it to say something different depending on what the user says. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is sign up for the API. If you don't know what API is, it stands for Application Programming Interface. And what it does is it connects two programs with each other. which allows us to incorporate another program's services and functions into our own code. And to use an API, we have to first sign up and get an API key, which API services use to authorize and authenticate a user. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is go to text2data.com to create your free account. So I'm just going to go right here. Just going to click on sign up, and you can either register with Google or just fill out your information. So everyone, please do that right now. You can find the link on the slides, which I put in the chat earlier, but I'm also going to place it right now. All right, just go to that link and create your account. Once you have done that, just give me a 1 in the chat, just like that. All right, I'll let you guys all get on that. All right, cool. I see a bunch of 1s, so I'm just going to move on. So the next thing you're going to do is go to your account. Just click up right here, and then that's going to bring you to your account. And first thing you're going to do is create a secret. Mine's already set up, but all you got to do is just enter a passcode. This is just basically a passcode for your API. So mine's just ABCD, all capitals. I'm just going to update it really quickly. You can make it whatever you want, but just make sure you remember it for later. Okay. Once you've done that, just go to product, this click drop down right here, click on API integration, and you're just going to leave this off to the side because we're going to build our app first. All right. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure. All right. Okay. All right. Our next step is to create a new project in MIT App Inventor. So we're just going to click start a new project, and I'm going to name it Therapist Bot. If you don't know how to get to MIT App Inventor, by the way, here's the link. I'll post that in the chat as well. And once you've, created your account, set your secret, and created a new project, and then give me a 2. All right. And also, by the way, if you're behind on anything at all, the slides have all the instructions for you. Come on, guys. I'm trying to see a few more before I move on. Is anyone caught up? All right, there we go. All right. All right, that looks like a good amount. All right. So first thing we're going to do is change the alignment of this screen. So what you're going to do that is just by going to screen 1, clicking on this right here, and you're going to change this to center align. Right. And sorry, give me a second. Next step, we're going to drag and drop an image component from the palette right here, and we're going to change the size to 100 pixels by 100 pixels, just like you see here. Okay. Now we're going to upload a picture of a robot. All right. If you can find whatever picture you want. I've provided a picture on the slides, which you can access just by clicking that link right there. But the way you're going to upload it is just by clicking upload file down here on media. And you're going to choose the file that you just downloaded. Okay. Right here. Okay. The icon. Check this is okay. Yeah. Looking good. And there we go. It's uploaded. And I'm just going to change the picture of the image to what I just uploaded. So there we go. Now there's my picture. Okay. And I'm gonna wait for some people to catch up. So once you're done, just give me a 1 again. All right. Once you're done, just give me another 1 in the chat. Thanks, Austin. All right, so I'm going to move on. Our next step is creating the chat box. All right, and the way we're going to do that is by using the text box component. So just going to click, drag and drop it right to the center of our screen. And first thing I'm going to do is rename this to chat box, just like that. Okay, and I'm going to change the width to fill parent, and I'm change the color to black, and I'm going to change the text color to cyan so you can actually see the text. Okay, and I'm going to delete this. All right, so that should be pretty simple, right? And okay, our next step is to create the user chat box. So I'm going to add a horizontal arrangement. I'm going to add another text box, and I'm going to add a button. All right, this button is going to be the submit button. So this is what the user is going to click to send the message. And I'm going to change this to orange. I'm going to make it bold just to make it look a little better. All right, and I'm going to change this to center align and center. Okay, and you could change the width of this. I think I'm going to do that too. Change it to 200. Okay, and that looks good to me. So maybe I'll get rid of this here. And yeah, all right. That should be very simple too. And our last step is adding the voice recognition button. So this is the button the users are going to click to activate the voice recognizer, right? So I want this to be I don't want this to be a text button. I want this to be an image. So I'm just going to delete the text, and I'm going to change the size to 50 pixels by 50 pixels. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing we did earlier, except we're going to upload a microphone image. All right, and the image I use is right here also. I'm going to post that in the chat right now. Microphone image. All right, you can just save that to your computer and then upload it right here. Okay, and it should be right here. And I'm just going to select image to be microphone.png. And there we go. Our button is a microphone. And that should be all there is to it. Oh, never mind. We have some non-visible components as well. So obviously we want our text-to-speech. We want our speech recognizer. And we also want our web. This is web. All right, this is going to be used to connect to the API. So that's all there is to it. All right, and that's it. That's all the app building we're going to do for today. So once you're done with that, give me another one in the chat, just so I know that we're all caught up and ready to move on. All right. Once again, if you are behind, there are instructions on the slides, which you can find in the chat. Just a reminder, if you're having any troubles, you can just say it right in the chat and I'll be happy to help you with whatever you need. All right. Where is the user chat box? User chat box is just going to be a layout and a text box. All right. So you're going to drag the horizontal arrangement onto the app, and then you're going to drag a text box component. All right. And then you're going to put a button in there as well. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sharing my screen. All right, sorry, I paused my share. I'm going to show that again really quickly. So basically, you're just going to drag a horizontal arrangement. It's under here in layout, and then you're going to put a text box in there and a button in there. And that's the user chat box. And you reminded me I should rename this to be user chat box. Make sure you're Vincent, what do you mean still stopped? This is going to be oh, the share, is it still stopped? I think it's working right now. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I should be more aware. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. I'm gonna change this to voice recognizer button. All right. So all looks good. One good. How many people are caught up? Okay, maybe 2, 3. Right. I'm gonna wait a little longer, but we have some code to get to also, so we're just gonna wait a few more minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Any problems they're experiencing? Okay. Well, I'm just going to move on, all right, because we have some coding to do. So first thing we're going to do is the initial message. So first thing we are going to do. So when screen 1 first initializes, we want to set the global. Okay, so we're first going to have to create a variable, and we're going to call this bot chat. This is just what the bot or what the therapist bot is going to say. Okay. So when the screen first opens up, we want to set this to, I want the bot to first say, hello, how can I help you today? All right, that's going to be its first message. And then in order to, because this is just a variable right now, in order to actually set it so the user can see it, we're going to have to set the chat box text to whatever the variable is. Okay. And we remember we also want the bot to kind of say it out loud, right? So we're going to use the text to speech component, and we're going to call it to speak whatever it says. Okay. All right. We also need, actually, I forgot, I'm forgetting about this part. We also need to add a bot. I'm going to add this in front of it, so it kind of indicates what the bot is saying. So this is what it's going to look like. So when it opens up, when the app first opens up, it's going to look like this. Hello. Okay. Just like that. Okay. That's going to be the first chat. All right. Next we are going to give the user their response. All right. So this is how the user is going to respond. So remember, we want the user to be able to speak their response, and then we want the speech recognizer to pick it up. All right. So when this voice recognizer button, when this button is clicked, then we are going to change, we are going to call the speech recognizer to get whatever the user says, right? And after the speech recognizer gets whatever the user says, then we want to set the chat or the user chat box. We want to set this chat box to the result. So I'm just going to do that. Set the text to result, right? So this is what it's going to look like. So the bot is going to first say, bot, hello, how can I help you today? And then let's say I say, I am very sad. And that's how it's going to look like, right? I'm going to press this button. I'm going to say, I am very sad, and it's going to appear in this text box. All right. So yeah, that's how we are going to get the user's response. Next, we want the user to send the response, right? This is just appearing here. It's not actually doing anything, right? So remember, we want the API to be able to kind of detect how the user is sounding emotionally, okay? And the way we are going to do that is using the web component, all right? So we only want this to be true for the first response, right? We don't want the bot to constantly be saying, oh, you sound a little bit negative. Oh, you sound a little bit positive. Oh, you sound a little bit neutral. All right. We just want the first chat to say that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable. I'm going to call it first chat question mark, and I'm going to set it as true. I'm going to initialize it as true. Okay. And then, so when the submit button is clicked, I'm going to add an if then statement, right? If the first chat variable, if this is true, then I am going to call the API to analyze whatever message the user sends. Okay. If it's not true, then we're going to do something else. All right. If this is not the first chat, then we're going to do something else. We'll get to that later. All right. So first things first, we are going to set the web1 URL to the API URL. And the API URL, what is that? Well, we're going to go back to this website. All right, the text-to-data API, as you might remember. Click on this link over here, and it's going to tell you exactly how to use the API. So we are going to use the analyze feature, and it's telling us that we want to post. We want it to have 3 components to the request. All right. So the URL is going to be right over here, right? You can see it right here. And I am going to set a variable to the URL, and then the URL is going to be this right here. Samuel, you want to see the API part again, right? Is that right? How I got the link. Okay, yeah. So if you remember, if you still have this open, right, you got to go to products, you go to API integration, click on this link, or click on this button right here. All right, you scroll down a little bit and you're going to see API URL right here, and you're just going to copy this. All right, and you are going to set a variable called URL. You're going to just set that to that link. Okay, great. And next, we are going to set the web1 URL to what we just got, the API URL, right? We're going to set it to global URL. And we are going to set the request headers. We want to set the headers to headers. Where is it? Oh, right here. Set request headers to make a dictionary one pair. And it's going to be, you can see it here. Where is it? What does it tell you? Okay. Does it not say over here? Oh, here we go. Yeah, you're going to do what it tells you to do here. So content type, you're going to copy this right over here. And you are just going to put that here. Key is content type, and the value is going to be application/JSON. Actually, no, it should be text/JSON, which is, that should look like this, right? Text./JSON. Text/JSON. Okay, that should be what it looks like, and that's going to just set the response to this format. Okay, and then after we set the URL and the request headers, then we're going to call it. We're going to tell it to post a response, right? Call web1 post text, and it's going to be a dictionary. here. And okay, so the first key is going to be, you can see it over here. Actually, it's going to be document text. Okay. So name it document text. And what is document text? Well, when you post a response, right, you can see how an example right here. This is where you put the sentence that you want to be analyzed. Okay. So what's that sentence going to be? Well, it's going to be whatever the user says, right? So it's going to be user chat box text. Okay. Next, use the private key. Okay. So you just go like that. Private key is going to be whatever it is for you. So you can go back to the account. You're going to go back to your account. Just going to copy this right over here. Right. Copy. And I'm going to I'm going to make it a variable. Okay, that just makes it a little easier. API key. Okay, put the key right in here, and the variable is just going to be API key. Okay, and finally is the secret, or aka the passcode, right? So you're just going to put secret, and if you remember what your passcode is, it's for me it's ABCD, and that's my request right there. Okay. So what this is going to do is it's going to go to these servers and it's going to tell it to analyze this text right here. And it's going to give it the API key to authorize. It's going to give it the secret passcode for it to authorize and authenticate and make sure it's me. And then after that, it's going to return some sort of value. Okay. So when the web one has its value, then we want it to do a few things, okay? So remember, we're trying to generate the bot's response, okay? So when we get a value back from this, first thing we're gonna do is set a dictionary, so response dictionary. And that is going to be decode with JSONs. We're going to decode the response using dictionaries, and the text is going to be response content. Okay. Next, we are going to set the bot chat variable. Okay, so now we are like creating the response. Okay, so the bot chat, that's going to be set to, trying to combine a few things. All right, so this is like a sample, like this is, let's go back to here. So like this is a sample response, right? Like I say I am feeling depressed, and the bot is going to tell me, you sound a bit negative, would you like to explain more? All right, so we're going to build that response. The first thing I'm going to say is, you sound a bit blank. And what this is going to be get value for key. Oh, and you can see, yeah, so you are going to see that doc sentiment result string. This is going to say if it's either positive or negative, all right? So you are just going to copy this. This is going to be your key in the dictionary, response dictionary, all right? So basically, when you post this, when you ask the API to kind of analyze this text, it's going to return this whole jumble mess. Okay, and then you are going to get what you want from this whole thing, right? So this is just retrieving that response. Okay, you sound a bit blah, blah, blah. You sound a bit negative, you sound a bit positive, you sound a bit neutral, comma, would you like to explain more? Question. Okay, so that's our bot response. Next, we are going to change the text box to that response. So first, we are going to have to add the user's original input, right? So first we are going to say, okay. So first it's going to be chat box, the stuff that's already in the chat box already. Okay. And we are going to put a line break by doing \in. That's going to add a line break, right? Oh yeah, make sure you are checking this off. That says multi-line. This has to be checked off, or else it's not going to work. Or else this is not going to work. Okay. And it's going to say you. And this is going to be the users, whatever the user says. Okay. Next up is we're going to add another line break. Okay. And then it's going to say bot. Next is the bot's response. Right. And the bot is going to just say what we just got right here. So bot chat. Okay. And that should be it, I believe. So basically how this is going to work. First, the robot says, hello, how can I help you today? And then skip a line. And then you say blah, 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 blah. And then that's going to go right under it. And then the bot is going to say, you sound a bit negative, sound a bit positive. Would you like to explain more? Okay. And now we want to speak this message once again. So using text to speech. Chat. Oh, multi-line part. Oh, that's you mean how to type this out? It's just backspace. If you don't know where the backspace button is, it's right on top of your enter key. And you want to set the chat box to say multi-line. All right, you just want to check this checkbox here and it should be good. Okay. And now, okay, after we've done this, we want to set this first chat variable. We want to set it to false, all right? Because this is already the first chat, so we don't want to do this again, all right? We only want this to happen when it is the first chat, okay? And then we are just going to set the user text box to blank. Okay, so that's our first response. This is our first response, all right? It's a bit long for a first response, but thankfully the other part is going to be a little easier, right? Because we are not going to be creating unique responses for every single one. Okay, so let's go back to the slides here because I have something I want to show. So after the user inputs their first message, the bot's going to respond by saying, you sound a bit something, something, something. And then the user is going to input their next message. And after that, the bot can respond in one of two ways. So either with a randomly chosen hedge. A hedge is just like something that causes the conversation to just keep going, such as please tell me more or please continue, or by modifying the user's message into a question. So I always loved my sister. This is going to be modified into, can you explain why you always loved your sister? Okay, so that's going to be what we're going to do. All right, so the first thing we're going to do to make that happen is create a variable for our hedges, for our sentence starters, and for our matching words. So this is going to be hedges. And our hedges are going to be a list of 3. And let's just get, please tell me more. Please continue. Or many of my patients tell me the same thing. Okay, that's going to be our hedges, right? Or our conversation continuers, if you want to call it that. Next, we are going to add our qualifiers, which is just this part right here, all right? And you're going to do that. Just going to duplicate that, and I'm going to change it to why do you say that? Can you explain why? And you seem to think that. Okay, cool. I like that. Now we are going to do our replacement words. This is going to be a doozy. All right, so you're going to have to create a dictionary of 11 values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11. Okay. So now you're just going to go, we want to replace the word I with the word you. Okay. As you can see over here. So we're just going to do that for all the other nouns that the user might say. So me is going to also turn into you. My is going to turn into yours or your. And mine is going to be yours. Just make it the opposite, basically. We is also going to become you. Us is also going to be you. Our is going to be your. Ours is going to be yours. And if they say you, you're going to change it to my. They say your to me. Yours is going to be. Actually, no, this should be me. This should be you. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, whoever said that. All right. There we go. That's our replacement words. That's our qualifiers, and that's our hedges. All right. So next thing we're going to do, we are going to create a procedure. A procedure is just a block that you can use multiple times again. So it's kind of similar to a variable, but instead of it just being one thing, it's a lot of things. Okay. So first, we are going to put an if-then statement. And remember, we want this to be random. Okay, we want this to be a random choice. So it's either going to choose this or it's going to choose this. So we want a 1 in 4 chance. And the way we're going to simulate that is just by doing this. If a random digit from 1 to 4 is 1, then the statement is true. If it's not, then it's not true. Okay, and this is kind of simulating a 25% chance probability. Okay, so if this is true, then we are going to use one of the hedges. Okay, hedges. Okay, and if this is not true, then we are going to use this replacement thing. All right, so we are going to join from random. We're going to join one of these. And then we are going to use this block right here. Replace all mappings in text, blah, blah, blah. All right, so what this is going to do, so it's going to take, whatever you give it, all right, and then it's going to replace it using this dictionary, right? So everything that says I, it's going to replace with you. If it says me, then it's going to replace with you. All right. If it says ours, it's going to replace with yours. Okay. That's basically how that works. And the mappings is just going to be replacements. Okay. So that's our procedure. Okay. So when So we're going to go back to here. All right. Remember this? Remember this submit button? So when the first chat, when this statement is not true, then we are going to get a different response. Okay. So then we're going to set the bot chat to response, and the sentence is going to be whatever the user says. So user chat box next. Okay. And then, so now the bot chat is updated. So now we need to update the chat box, right? Because this is just a variable. This is not the actual chat box, right? So we're going to set this to, it's similar to what we did here. So really, I can just like copy and paste this. We're going to set the chat box to what it was originally. Line break you're going to say whatever you say. Oh wait, this should say text, not text color. Whoops. Hopefully I didn't make that mistake anywhere else. Okay, we're good. And then yeah, that's exactly the same actually. All right, cool. And then we're gonna call the text to speech to say it again. Just like that. And then we're gonna set the user chat box to blank. Cool. And that's it. That's all our code. So I don't know if anyone is still following me right now, but here it is. And I am just going to show you guys what the final thing should look like. All right. So this is how your final app should look.
Hello. How can I help you today?
I'm feeling sad.
You sound a bit negative. Would you like to explain more?
My friends don't seem to like me.
You seem to think that your friends don't seem to like you.
They never talk to me.
Please continue.
And this can just like go on and on and on for as long as the user wants. All right. So that was kind of like a very crude, very simplified version of an NLP model, right? So you are kind of telling the program how you want to it to like understand the text you give it, and then you're gonna return some sort of response. Okay. All right. So that's our app for today, and that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. All right. The final thing is just the homework, which is fairly simple. We're just going to use the text-to-speech component, so the user's messages are spoken in a different voice. And keep in mind that the bot should not respond to the text-to-speech. The bot should not respond with another message until the user's text-to-speech is done speaking the user's message. Okay, there's a submission form if you need it. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. There's these slides for anyone who wants to go back and check or catch up on anything. If you want to build this app for yourself, it's all right here. And that's pretty much it. Thank you guys. There is going to be a recording. Tony is going to upload that on the YouTube channel in about a day or two. Okay. So now I'm just going to turn it over to Tony because he has some stuff he wants to say.
All right. Obviously, first, thank you for Jason teaching the class today. It was amazing, and I think everyone appreciated your teaching and learned something new about NLP and how to create such, I guess, a chatbot app, a simple chatbot app. All right. So to finish this up, just wanted to say, as a reminder, as I know most of you guys have your spring break started, right? All had it last week, but for most people, it's starting like this week. So during this time, I hope you all can use your time wisely. And one way to do that is prepare for the App of the Season competition that will be submission due on April 30th, which is in 22 days. this competition will not be like that complicated. It's just like a medium-sized competition where you just have to make an app based off of these certain themes. There's a very broad range of themes, so you can probably just, make something pretty simple. And if you do not like want to really make anything, you can just submit previous apps you have made before that you think fit with any of these topics. But I highly recommend you to make a new app. But anyways, check out this website that I'll be posting on the Discord server later to review and then see more information. And if you're interested, definitely check it out and submit and compete. It's still like a global competition, so still good experience. Even if you don't win, good to be like trying out different competitions and learning. Because if you never go to competitions, right, you will never be successful. And I believe this is a great way for you to prepare and be ready for the upcoming summer Appathon, right? That's our main goal of the year. So for the MIT Summer Appathon, obviously this is the 2022 page, but in 2023, there will be the 2023 page, and it'll be the same time as last year. So probably, around June, right? Start of June. Yeah, but definitely check that out. And other than that, you can check out the YouTube channel, as Jason said, for our recordings. The past 2 recordings have been already posted. And after I finish editing the recording of this class, I'll post the class 3 recording. And then if you have not done so, definitely join our Discord server and then do our members form to become a member. And also just wanted to say happy Easter. I know it's like tomorrow, but just wanted to say happy early Easters. And we will be having maybe like a small Easter event going on. So definitely check that out. We might have some, stuff hidden in different places for you to do. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's class, learned something new. And if you like what we're doing, feel free to donate to App Club. And you can do so by basically just clicking contact and then scroll down, you can see donation and sponsorship, but this is obviously optional, just totally out of your choice. But we appreciate any donations, as these donations will go towards funding our future events, prizes for events, and right now we're actually making some merch for App Club, like members and officers, t-shirts, stuff like that. And we need funds for that, right? So yeah. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed today's class, and I hope you all understand. If you don't, feel free to ask questions in the Discord server. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I hope you all enjoy your Easter and your spring break. All right, see you all next week.